Well, good morning. It's Wednesday, April 29th. Welcome once again to Wise Words from Waldo. In Philippians chapter 4, the Apostle Paul says, I have learned that in whatever state I am in, to be content. Well, I've learned that that's easy to say when things are going well. We've all heard the phrase, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. And like me, you probably have thought, well, yeah, that's where the septic tank is buried. I often wonder why we struggle so much with being content. Some 30 years or so ago, I went on a mission trip to Guyana, South America. It was in the jungle. It was hot. 10 days. No air conditioning. No refrigerator. All I could think about for those 10 days, every time I put my head on the pillow at night, was ice cream. Cold ice cream. When we flew back into the United States, all I could think about when I got to the airport was finding some place that sold ice cream. And I found one. 30 years later, my wife was at the store this past week, and she called me from the store and said, I think I'll get some ice cream. You want chocolate? And I thought, nah. How about strawberry? Nah. See if they have some of the blueberry cheesecake, I said. And she said, I don't see it. And I said, nah, don't worry about it. From 30 years ago, dreaming about ice cream, to, well, if they don't have my favorite flavor, I'm just not content. As a teenager, we couldn't wait to move out of the house. In winter, we can't wait for warm weather. In the summertime, we can't wait for cool weather. I sometimes think I can't wait to retire. I wish I was young again. Years ago, when we were first married, I would wade fish. Didn't have a boat, but I loved to fish. And so I'd put on my shoes and I'd wade. The whole time thinking, if I only had a canoe. Oh, if I had a canoe, I'd be the happiest guy in the world. Then I bought a canoe. Oh, and I was happy. And then I thought, I need a motor. If I just had a small motor for the canoe, I'd be happy. And so I got one. And I was happy. For a short time. Then it was, I need a little bigger boat with a bigger motor. And I got that. And I was happy. But then, it didn't seem big enough. It didn't seem fast enough. Why aren't we ever content? 1 Timothy 6:6 says, godliness with contentment is great gain. Godliness with contentment is great gain. You know, that tells me something I don't really like to hear, and that is, it's hard to be godly if you're not content. It's hard to be godly if you're not content. You see, if abundance brought happiness, we would assume that the people who had the most were the happiest. But we know that's not true. Many years ago, I attended one of the Southern Baptist conventions. A pastor friend and I slipped out early from the meeting to beat the rush to the restaurant. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Pastor, you don't like that now during church. I guess I'm getting paid back. But we slipped out to get to the restaurant before the thousands of other people would get there. And of course, we were able to get a table ahead of everybody. The two of us sitting at a 4-person table. While we were sitting there, the pastor that I was with noticed the line there, and he saw one of the most famous pastors in our convention, pastored one of the largest churches in America, standing in the long line. And he called over to him and said, "Hey, would you like to come and sit with us?" And he came and sat with us. There I was, fresh out of Bible college, associate pastor at a church, and we had one of those big church pastors having lunch with us. Kind of was hoping everybody might see and think, wow, they must really be something with him. But it was the conversation we had that day that has never left me. While we were talking, I mentioned to him, that I pastored a small church near Tampa. And I was sitting there thinking, man, you pastor one of the biggest churches. That must just be awesome. And I'll never forget what he said to me. When I told him I pastored a small church, he said, "I envy you." I was struck. He envies me. He wished that he didn't have all of the people and the responsibility. I wished I pastored the big church. You see, a lack of contentment might be one of Satan's most effective weapons, because it comes disguised. Disguised in such a way that we hardly think of it as deceit. It comes almost imperceptibly, and he lures us away with not being content. Paul was learning to be content. And remember, he was in jail. Pal and I have been having our devotions at our dinner time like we normally do, and even during this time of the virus, we've been reminded of just how blessed we are. Even found ourselves praying, Lord, we're cooped up at home. But thank you that we have a home. We'd love to go out to dinner. But thank you that we had dinner. Thank you that no one in our family has the virus. And at least to this point, no one in our church has the virus. I'm learning to be content. Are you? Now stop and think about that.